Welcome to the channel. Thank you everyone for tuning in. So on today's video, we will be reviewing the Proxima PX1697. If you guys recall, I did a triple unboxing of Proxima watches about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks. And I've chosen to review this one first, as I think this will probably be the most popular one. Now, as of late, in the last 6 months or so, Proxima have been trying to reach out, away from the comfort zone. They're bringing us different models, which we traditionally never saw from Proxima. They're always concentrated on the Seiko homages. Now that they're branching out, I feel not all of the models are kind of hitting the mark. A few of the watches that I have seen are a bit of a hit and miss. There's something just not right about them. I think they haven't really nailed a particular model that they can do really well. There's always a slight issue. However, the finishing is great. They use really high quality parts and the customer service is second to none. As an example, this is one of the warranty cards that you get with it, personally signed by the technician, and everyone who purchases from Proxima can attest to this, that Proxima will send you a individual picture of the watch, being on the time grapher, showing how regulated it is. Also, every watch is built to order, and as well as that, they will allow you to customize most watches as long as the case fits the dial, fits the bezel and everything. These are totally customizable, so it's good to know that these are the options. You can also mess around with the logo. You can go for the unicorn logo, you can go for the Proxima logo, and you can also go for the old style Proxima text, depending if they've got the dials available. Now, while I don't think that's always a good thing, but those options are there. Now, I gotta say, with this model, I knew this was a hit as soon as I saw this in the pictures, and I just wanted to confirm the actual build quality in hand. And I must say, this watch is built exceptionally well. It can definitely compete with some of the best San Martin watches out there that I've seen. You guys of course know it is homaging a Christopher Ward. I believe it's a C60 or a C65, from their vintage line. We have seen another brand do this in the past, which was Sieg Flammer, and that was a very popular watch. However, with this particular version from Proxima, I think they've nailed, nearly every aspect. There are a slight couple of issues which I'll mention through the review. In terms of specifications and dimensions, I'll put them up on screen as I did cover them within the unboxing. So let's start off with the first thing that you see is, of course, that gorgeous enamel dial. Now, this is a off-white cream color dial, and I just really like how plain it is, how crisp everything looks, and that's of course due to that enamel they've used. You've got printed text below the 12 and above the 6. I still haven't warmed up to this scribble font that they've used. This emulates handwriting. I much prefer the older style Proxima text, which was those blocky letters, and I felt that is the brand's identity. And now, in terms of the applied hour markers, one thing you'll notice is that they are quite proportionate in terms of the dial. They're not too small and they are not too large. Really well applied. You've got slightly large polished frames, which does help distinguish those hour markers. You've got a beveled date window just above the 6. Again, very good quality, and you've got a partial hour marker just above the 6 as well. Everything has been done to a high level, which we are used to from Proxima. The handset they've deployed as well is beautifully made. It's chamfered, polished with the bevel edges. It's got this linear brushing through the center, all the micro detailing, which I absolutely love when I see a good set of dive watch hands, because the light bounces off them so differently, gives you such different light reflections. And the second hand, they've finished it off with a capped second hand, so that's a nice finishing touch. So they seem to have stuck to this capped seconds, and I've seen that on a few of their models, and I really do like how they've gone forward. So Proxima are always trying to push boundaries, always trying to get better. I think their main issue is in the design work. Now, they've got a watch which I think works. Obviously, we know it's homaging another well-known brand. However, it's all about execution. So they have kind of reached out to the right factories and got the right quality of items, put it together, and it seems to work really well. Now, interestingly enough, as soon as I did the unboxing, a couple of days later, Proxima contacted me with a different color option as well, because at the moment, this was the only one that was available. And they've put their phantom dial, again, Christopher Ward-ish style of dial, which is a phantom blue dial, and a black version as well. So like a see-through smoke dial effect with some really sharp Dauphine style GS style hands, and this is what they've given us in this version. So you've got a Seamaster style bezel, with that blue and the orange colors, a very beautiful looking phantom dial with some really nice set of hands, and you can see that on picture. That looks really appealing. They've also used a box style sapphire crystal. I like that. It's not that super high dome. I much prefer these lower dome box sapphire crystals. You get awesome clarity. Even at extreme angles, you can literally see everything that you need to. And they've gone with subtle AR coating, which you can see, which of course will help clarity. Now with that bezel insert, it is ceramic. It's quite a thin bezel insert, giving you those vintage skin diver cues. You've got a coin edge style on the bezel, full stainless steel of course, and the thing with the rotation is this is probably the first thing that I'm going to slightly moan about. In terms of preciseness, feel, clicks, there's no wobble in that there's no wobble in that bezel, there's no back play, it doesn't move around, it is quite solid. However, let me just let you hear it first. However, due to how just thin that bezel is, how small it is, the amount of material used in that bezel, you do get a slightly tinny or slightly rattly sound, and it doesn't feel weighted. It doesn't feel very sturdy. But that is the effect of using smaller or lighter bezels, and it's something which you really can't get away from. In terms of alignment, my alignment is okay. There's no issue with that. And yeah, it does suit the overall look of the watch. Now let's have a quick look at the lume. As expected from Proxima, amazing amount of lume, very bright, very clear and legible. All the hour markers have been evenly filled in, as well as the hands. There's no patchiness, no blotchiness, no sign of premature fading. And you also got the benefit of a lumed bezel, which again you can see it's not that different to the amount of lume applied on the dial. So this is a very high quality dial and bezel, and it does look good. Full BGW9, of course, giving you that cool blue glow. So far so good from Proxima. They are really impressing me with this watch. Moving on to the case and the case finish, of course it's a light catcher case, and a bit of inside info, maybe or maybe not, maybe you guys know about this, but Proxima did reveal that they got this from the same factory which actually does some work for some well-known Swiss brands. So it may be the case that this case is from the same factory that made the case for the actual brand that uses this case. Now that is purely speculation. Nothing is obviously hard evidence, but we do know a lot of well-known brands reach out to Chinese factories which produce cases, bracelets, etc. for them. So that is totally plausible. However, going back to the finishing and the feel in hand, it is perfect. This case is amazingly well done. You've got super fine satinized brushing in a linear fashion down those lugs, and you've got this very thin slither of this polished highlight which goes along the length of the whole case, and then another beveled section which is finely brushed, super fine brushing, satin like, and then at the bottom of the case again fully polished, giving you that light catcher effect. Move over to the side, exactly the same, and it is perfect. The transition lines are very clean and smooth, very nice use of soft finishing, and that thin slither of polishing along the edges looks amazing. Now in terms of crown function, it's a 6.5mm crown, so the diameter is there, although it is rather slim, and you've got a coin edge effect around there, polished on the side, no signage. And then if you just screw this down, no issue on the screwing. The movement is a PT5000 as I put up on the screen before, so quite a reliable movement, but it depends on how well I think the people sourcing it, how well they test the movement. From Proxima, they do send these movements before they test them out. Winding, hacking, everything works. Date change just above the 6 should snap and we can hack it, and yeah, everything works as it should. The screw down feature is okay as well, very smooth, no grittiness, just slightly uncomfortable with the gloves, but there you go. Case back, we've got the usual Proxima text on the back, Sapphire limited edition, etc. Now when they write limited edition, I don't really like it because it's not a real limited edition. However, the finishing on there is brilliant. Brushing in the center, polishing along the sides, and you've got two manta rays swimming in a circle. What comes into focus is just the inside of that middle clasp. It states Proxima and Omnion. Some kind of reunion or some kind of collaboration, but they are the same brand effectively. But if you stand the case back slightly, you'll also see they've gone with quick release bars on the bracelets. So this is a very high quality bracelet indeed. You can see female end links, solid, fitted extremely well, and those female end links maintain that compact lug to lug as well. You can see there, adds 0 to that lug to lug. The links are very proportionate, they're not overly thick. They're also screw-in links. You've got brushing on the sides, brushing across the A face, a very fine brushing. You've also got a nice taper from 20mm down to 16mm, back up at 18 at the clasp. So that bracelet feels great in hand. There's no sharp edges or any edgy feeling along the metal, and that brushing is just superb. 3-link bracelet, and you can just see where it kind of widens out towards the end there, and I really do like that 20mm down to 16mm taper. That is perfect. So the bracelet's exceptional, great news on there. The clasp is fully brushed, again sterile. I'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later on. You've got 4 micro adjustments and a nice slim clasp, 18mm, so it does suit the profile of that bracelet. So it looks to be the complete package, and this is I think the first watch where they have given us a real complete package where everything on the design side works. And you know, as I mentioned, there are a couple of issues which after the wrist shot I'll let you guys know what I think. So here's the Proxima PX1697 on my 6.5-inch wrist, and guys, I gotta tell you, this watch wears so damn good. 39mm diameter, 46.5mm lug to lug, and just a 10.8mm thickness. Everything is so proportionate. I made a point to mention the thickness of the links. Sometimes, you know, the bracelets are too thick and heavy for the style of watch case and therefore are disproportionate. However, the links are perfectly sized. You can just see that bracelet taper looks great on the side of my wrist. And you know, I've got 6.5-inch wrist, as I mentioned. It's not the biggest of wrist sizes and it's not the tiniest as well, but this 39mm case fits it just right. I love the case shape. Of course, we know the Christopher Ward models do fit awesomely well, so that has been replicated when you look at this Proxima. And it is one of the best wearing watches I've put on. I think the weight of the watch is around 135 grams, but I've taken out another 4 links, so that probably would have come down to 115, 120. I haven't weighed it since then, but it looks so good, fits really well. So I'm really pleased with how Proxima have delivered this. The execution is awesome. This is a really good model they've released. And now let's move on to some of the critical points that I feel I need to criticize. One of them I touched on was just the font. Maybe I'm not too used to it. I've been following Proxima for a long time, ever since I started this channel, and therefore I much preferred that blockier text. But the text aside, the bezel does have a very light, slightly tinny rotation, but I can put that down to just the design element, because it is quite a thin bezel, and it needs to be thin to suit the overall style of the watch, and therefore you will get just a slightly looser or lighter feel on that bezel. You can feel the clicks coming through quite strong through the metal. You can feel them vibrating, but that's it. There's no other issues with the bezel. The last issue I have, and I've never really had this issue with a lot of other watches, and that's because I don't really treat a lot of AliExpress brands as micro brands. I treat them as mushroom brands or pop-up brands. As I've said it before, enjoy them for what they are. That copy and paste exercise, but it brings a watch within such a budget where you can buy it and not be too fussed. Doesn't really hurt your wallet as much. But with this one, the point I'm getting at is just the no signage on the crown and no signage on the clasp. And I consider Proxima to be a micro brand. They've been here for long enough. They've made so many different watches, and yeah, it doesn't really feel from them, if that makes sense. There's no identity on there. They could just put Proxima along there, or one of the funny logos that they use. They have put something on the inside of that milled clasp. It just needs a bit of personalization, and that's it really. There are no other critiques or any deal breakers that I see at all. I think this is really well made. It's probably the best watch, after the MM300 homages that they do. Now, also the different color options. They have made one that again fits and matches. A lot of the times, certain things that Proxima do don't really match. This is where they've got issues with design. But the other model they can get, I'll put it up on screen. It matches perfectly well. Nice choice of bezel, great colors, and a gorgeous style with some really nice slick hands. So what I can say from Proxima is that the QC on all the individual bits and pieces is great. They use exceptionally well made parts and watches, but just putting them together is a bit of a hit and miss. But not in this case. They have really done well with this. Price point for this watch, I haven't mentioned it yet. It is at £220 for the PT5000 movement. The SW200 option is at £340-ish. I'd definitely go for the PT5000. I can trust the PT5000 coming from Proxima and not many other places. That's it from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed that review. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will definitely see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.